if my parents were together, right, I don't think I'd be a celebrity. Because my dad was so anti-entertainment. Entertainment is a hobby. Entertainment is a joke. You're joking with your life. But my mom, honestly...
My dad is like, what, 70-something? Like, I don't think I'm going to be able to change a 70-something-year-old man right now, you know. So I can express myself. And I think he knows how I feel. Has he apologized? No. Will he apologize? Don't think so.
Have you communicated how you feel to him? And how did he receive that?
He sort of avoided it.
The relationship aspect of my life is suffering. Not me about to cry. Oh my God, this is what baby. I didn't want. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Sorry, baby. Hi guys, welcome to yet another awesome episode of Bad and Boujee podcast. My name is Moet Abebe and I'm here with the biggest badge, T-Badge.
Biggest badge, not the little one. But you knew that.
Yes, I think they already definitely know that.
Okay.
With the way they've been trolling us, I hope they don't troll us on this episode.
My dear, you know I was going to actually allow us start the episode with like the backlash that we faced.
Abby?
How did you handle that?
To be honest, like I feel like the more episodes we do, the more used to it I get. So if an episode comes out and there's no bashing, I'm just like,
what's going on?
What
so it's like
happened?
you're expecting the backlash, basically.
Well, yes, I am. And to be honest, I feel like when you do have two very strong, opinionated ladies discussing things that don't only affect women but also affects men.
But these are things that people also agree with. Privately, they just won't come out and agree publicly. So
which is true.
This is where we stand out, and we don't mind being the voice for the country and the voice for the nation.
We're
your big sisters.
I love T-Badge today.
I know.
She said voice for the country,
we are
voice for the nation.
We are, because
voice for the continent.
I was out yesterday and there was a girl that came up to me and she was like, "Oh my God, I love your podcast." I'm like, "Oh, thank you." She was like, "I wish I could be vocal like us ladies."
I know, right? I'm not surprised that people feel like that.
Why can't you be vocal? But they just care too much about perception, and we don't care. So
yes,
YOLO.
We do not care.
Yeah.
Now this is a very interesting topic. I'm quite excited about today's topic, girl.
This topic is very serious. It's very different from what we're normally used to. So
yes. Yeah.
It's a bit too serious for me. It's a bit too serious.
But you know, what is life if there isn't a little sprinkle of seriousness?
Correct.
So yes, we're talking about single parenting. And all the different angles that arise from single parenting. But before we start, let's at least just try and just cool the, like, just, let's not be so.
Are you talking about the alcohol?
Yeah.
Cheers, guys. Yeah.
All right. Woo!
Oh my God. You always handle this liquor like a G.
Because I'm a G girl.
Girl.
I'm the goddess.
Well, you are the goddess. G for goddess.
G for goddess. So,
Keep it
I'm
light
hoping
too.
I'm hoping that at least the alcohol
Keep it light.
We'll keep it light for you.
Keep it light, because your questions are like table shaky questions.
No. As I said, the topic today was all about single parenting, and I know that it's obviously like a sensitive and maybe may end up being quite an emotional topic, if not for you, but for me, definitely. So I am a product of single parenthood. I would like to know, like, how did you grow up? What was your parents' parenting skill?
So, this is going to be long, but I feel like some people may be able to relate to my background. So I grew up in America, obviously with my sisters and my mom and my dad. And then it got to a point where my dad decided to ship us back to Nigeria. Like, okay, it's time for us to go back to Nigeria, learn the culture, start high school, learn some respect, basically. Because you know how American kids are, where they don't know when to keep quiet. They are very comfortable speaking back to adults, whatnot. We're getting to that age, and my dad was like, okay, no, we need to learn the culture. So we decided to move back to Nigeria with my mom, but my dad, that was the provider, had to stay back in America working. So his job was just to provide. He wasn't really hands-on, but I feel like he did the best of his ability. So I wouldn't say I grew up in a single household, but at the same time too, while I was in Nigeria with my sisters, we were just with our mom. We'll travel back to America for like summer holidays, but when we'll be in America, my mom would not be there. When we'll be in Nigeria, my dad would not be there. So it was very different.
I would say that was probably more co-parenting.
Co-parenting. I don't call it co-parenting, but...
And your parents were still together even when this was happening.
They were still together. The love was not there anymore, but it wasn't official. So I guess they just stayed to just appease the kids and just.
So what, they were like separated?
We like call it separated. With the older generation, very tough, man. They were never really direct.
Yes, and they never really told us what was going on. It
confused us. Like, are they not together? I don't know. We'll have to figure it out ourselves. It wasn't until I got older that I'm like, oh my God, they may have been separated. Do you get? But at the time, it didn't seem like separation. It just felt like my dad was hustling as a provider, doing what he thought he only needed to do as a provider. So... it's messy, but we'll dive deep.
We'll dive deep today.
Talk about your background, girl.
Well, to be honest, my parents never got married.
Okay.
So a lot of people will refer to me as a love child. The best kind, as far as I'm concerned.
What is a love child?
Apparently, it's a child.
This is your laugh.
Well, a child in a sense created from an affair. That sort of vibe, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
An affair.
Yeah.
Why are you coding? Please be direct.
Yes, an affair or maybe out of wedlock.
Okay.
But I feel like what is the major comfort for a lot of love children is the fact that we were created, at least the couple were in love.
Okay.
At the time. Yeah. And, that now leads me to now ask this question of why does it seem that there are a lot of people who are, if not even in single parent families, but in co-parenting families, most especially from our generation?
That question, deep. Ask that question again. Let me use my brain. Ask it again. Let me
Why
understand.
do you feel that a lot of us
millennials,
millennials are products of single parenthood or co-parenting? Because even with single parenting, it doesn't necessarily even mean, oh yes, maybe my situation, like love children. It could also just be, your parents were maybe together and maybe got divorced or got separated. So now you're living with mom only or dad only.
I feel like in this generation, women are not willing to wait on men anymore.
I love that answer.
I feel like women have gained their independence, and whether a man is there or not, a woman is ready to fill that void and step into that position and step into that role.
Yep.
I wouldn't really encourage that, to be fair, because I feel like if a child really wants to enjoy their life and the parents truly cares about the well-being of the child, both parties should be involved. But if the father is not willing to be involved, the woman needs to step in, fill the void, and do the best that she can do. If she's not able to, fill some capacity, she can reach out to family members for support, whatnot. But in this day and age, we're not waiting on men anymore.
No, we're not.
I can't even lie. I've thought about it, like, if marriage does not come and I want a child, I don't mind raising a child by myself. Is that what I really want to do? No. Is that what I hope for? No. But if I have to do it, I will do it.
Exactly.
I'm not going to wait on a man while I'm getting older and saying, there's no man, but I really want a child.
Yeah.
I will have the child and raise the child. You get.
And there's so many options, There's surrogacy, there's adoption, there's IVF, there's insemination. Like, there's just so many ways that now women can actually end up being mothers and it's sad to say, but also fathers.
Yeah.
Because one thing I've also noticed, especially with the single parenthood sort of thing that seems to go on in families, I've noticed that it is mostly the man who leaves, or it's mostly the man who is not available or is not there. And shout out to my mom, because for a very, very long time I feel like I always sort of blamed my mom for not being with my dad. But the older I got, I realized that, to be honest,
you can't make a man stay.
Yes.
You can't make a man stay.
You actually can't make a man stay. And then if that is your situation, you can only do your best.
Yes.
Are you also going to abandon the child as well? So shout out to my mom. I really, really love what you just said, about how, women aren't definitely waiting on men. But there's this general idea of, doesn't that now mean that women are now becoming a little bit more selfish? Because a lot of people will argue that a child needs both parents. So if now, women can now go to sperm banks and, have child and raise children on their own, doesn't that now mean that they're not really taking into consideration the questions that will end up being asked by their children in the future? Where's my dad? Why isn't my dad here?
Life is about taking a risk, right? At a point in life, if you want a baby and a man is not there, you have a baby right there and then, that doesn't mean that you cannot find somebody else that could play the father role. Do you get? Rather than you saying, oh my God, the person that I would love to have a child with is not available now. But you now do surrogacy. You could get a boyfriend that could be a husband that could not be a great father. I would take that risk, honestly speaking, and hope that, I'm worthy of love. I'm loved.
Yes.
And then whoever comes into my life loves my child. And then boom. He's a great father.
You know something? This just brings up this interesting, at least for me personally. One thing I always say to people, I'm always like, I'm really grateful to my mom. My mom was one of those women that's like, while I was growing up, would have different boyfriends every day. Like,
did you saw different?
I didn't. I'm saying that she wasn't that type of mom that, I would see different men every day. At least that was quite stable. Like, I can even be my chest that I don't even think my mom get boyfriend during these times. And sometimes it's a good thing and sometimes it's a bad thing. But in all honesty, I feel like the positive is a lot more than the negative, at least for me, the child. Because I don't know how I turned out a little bit crazy.
But
I think I'd have turned out a lot crazier if I was seeing different men, playing that father role.
Growing up and seeing different men, it can confuse you now.
Of course.
What's going on here? I met Uncle Deji last week. Why am I seeing Uncle Bayo this week? What's going on? Where's Uncle Deji? I miss Uncle Deji. I was, so it can be very traumatizing for the child and cause abandonment issues as well. Especially when you get attached to somebody and then the person just disappears. It causes trauma on the child.
Yeah.
But
I also feel that a lot of single mothers especially are under this pressure that they feel that society in a sense actually plays a role where they feel, oh yes, you have a child with another man, so maybe a man may not necessarily want that baggage.
There was a guy that I think I read it online, right? He literally called a woman that had a child after one. Do you get? He was like, I can't be with a woman because she's after one. I said, what does after one even mean? He was like, she has one child and it's already after one. Basically, she called her damaged goods.
Wow.
I'm like, how can you call
a woman that brought life into the world
damaged goods? So that was very tricky for me. And honestly speaking, once I read that, I'm like, you know what? I got to be very careful as well because I feel like if I have a child now, I can't lie you, I'm limiting my options. Especially if it's not married. I'm not going into marriage.
So you do agree that once a woman has had a child with someone else, it's harder for her to date or harder for her to find love?
It's harder because not a lot of men don't need to stay. Do you get? Because you have a child. Do you get? Men can easily say, I love you, but I don't love that child. That doesn't make the man a bad person.
Which is true.
He does not have
to. A lot of people would think that makes him a bad person. He actually doesn't have to carry that baggage.
He doesn't have to carry it, and he has a choice. He has options to say, I can easily date her that does not have baggage. You get? I love you equally, but you have baggage. So it's easier for me to choose. Do you get? So I do feel like if a woman has a child out of wedlock, she has limited options. And rather than her being the one to choose, she gotta wait to be chose.
Interesting.
That's how I feel. I don't know if you agree. Put your comments down below. Let me know if you agree with what I'm saying.
There's absolutely no way I look at as a single mother as that. You've done your role as a woman. You've brought life, whether you are with the person or not. So at least you've even I even feel like you've fulfilled more of your role as a woman, Seth, than someone that doesn't even have a child or whatever. But nonetheless, I feel that everybody's entitled to love.
Facts.
And if I was a man, I actually would rather even date somebody that has a child because I feel like that woman is more like women already are so selfless and so sacrificial. Yeah. So when you have a child, you can just imagine that love
and responsibility.
Like that woman is definitely going to be able to nurture to you as well,
Are you able to love somebody else's child as yours?
In all honesty, if you know me personally, I won't say that I'm a child magnet, like I like babies. I don't really think babies necessarily really like
I'm
me.
talking about as if you were a man, right?
Oh, if I was a man, if I was a woman.
If you were to be if you were to be a man, right? And there was a lady who maybe is interested in you, maybe even likes you more than you like her own self, but she has a child. And she has already said it, in order for you to be with me, you're going to love me and love my child. Do you think you're able to
I think I am.
the child?
I think I am, because one thing about me, if I do love you, then that means I love at least most of the things that come
About
with
you.
you. And the child will be a major part of what comes with
That's
you.
really rare. I don't think there are a lot of men who are willing to accept that baggage.
But that's maybe why I'm not a man.
Well, but I feel like there are not a lot of men who will, sit down and say, you know what, I'm ready to love you. I love that child, because they have options and they have a choice.
I do agree that there are not a lot of men that would, And as I said, like growing up, I never really saw my mom dating multiple men. But I don't know if that was a mix of because of the fact that she was a single mom and she felt that she needed to limit herself or her choices or her options, or
Maybe
if
she was too busy raising you and focused on you,
which is what I also really most importantly think was the case.
Yeah,
I think like my mom didn't actually date other
Was
people.
she happy?
Wow, what a question.
No, like, was she happy?
Only she can tell me, but I don't think so, because that generation, marriage and having man and having companionship was a major part of like their thing.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine how it must have been for her. So I don't think she was happy. No, I don't.
So as a lady, would you or can you date a man that has a child or kids? Because I know what I would do, but I want to hear what you say.
It won't be my preferred, go-to. But I can't say that I won't, and I can't say that I can't. That's the thing.
I can't say that I can't, but I also can't say that I won't.
Because life happens, and I feel like that. And the crazy thing about life is that it's when you say you're not going to do
That's
something.
when it will happen.
That's when it will happen.
This life is very funny.
So I just I'm like, I live by my motto, which is, hope for the best, expect the worst. So I hope that that's not the situation, but it's not something that I'm not expecting, because like you said, I'm not waiting on any man. If I get to a stage where I want to have a baby, I will have the baby. So
okay, madam, you say you don't mind having a baby, right? I know you don't want to get married, right? Right, correct?
yes,
So you don't want to get married, but you want kids. Is that correct?
yes.
So how is that going to work? How is that going to work? Because we just spoke about, women being selfish, whatnot. So in this case that you don't want to get married and you want kids, would you say you're being selfish?
I wouldn't say that I'm being selfish, because at the end of the day, I am me. I am who I am. I am free to make my own choices.
True.
But now that you've brought it up, you've made me look at it that way in a sense, because I don't necessarily want my child to go through the sort of abandonment issues that I went through. But I'm hoping that if I am to have a child, maybe I'll be more in control of the situation. So maybe it's a sperm bank thing, or I don't know, IVF or whatever the case is. So there would be it would be a different angle, or the issues that the child may have would be different. It may not necessarily be that abandonment. Maybe it may just be like, oh, who's my dad?
Yeah.
As opposed to, oh, my dad exists, but he just doesn't want to be present.
And that can be very painful.
Yes, and that could be so much more painful.
Damn it.
So, yeah, but I would like to actually know from you, though. Would you say that you don't necessarily want to be with a man that has kids because of the baby mama drama that comes?
That's true. We've not even spoken about baby mama drama.
That's also another side to single parenting.
It's not only baby mama drama, it's also the attitude from the kids as well. You gotta hope that they like you. If they don't like you, they can make your life a living hell. They can make you hate that relationship.
That too.
Things could be sweet, right? But the moment the children say, you know what, my dad is not with my mom anymore. I'm not going
to let this relationship work.
Show her shege, and they will show you shege. Do you get?
Yep.
But then in a few cases, there are some, daughters or, sons who are willing to get to know the girlfriend. She makes my dad happy. We'll get to know her. But a lot of them would rather make you hate
I've
yourself.
noticed that tends to happen when the kids are a lot older.
Yeah.
You know, it's very, very hard to, because, you know, a child is still growing. A child is still trying to, you know, get their emotions, just figure out life as they are growing. And then all of a sudden, their parents now brings in someone else. It's like,
where did this come from? We're not used to this.
When you're dealing with older children.
Yeah.
I feel like they already know, like, shit has happened already. Life has happened to them.
Life has happened already.
So they even know that, I beg, this is the least of our worries.
And then the men can also still stay in your white. We're still coming back to the kids, right? But I also feel like if the baby mama is still involved in the guy's life, they can still be having sex on the low now.
Yep.
It's like once they bear, always they bear. What Okafor's law. Do you understand? A man will always go back to hit because he will always have access. As much as they want to say, you know, we're done, whatnot. A child is binding them together. So they are family for life.
Yes, and I feel like that's also the reason why most women would say they don't necessarily want to date a man with kids. Because, and then think about it, you know, you want to spend quality time with your man and then baby mama calls, oh, your son is sick.
Do you get...
Won't you not be a bastard if you say, where are you going? You
know what
stay
I'm
with me.
They will use this song to even enter the man. This song is really
they
not
do that.
sick. Oh.
Yes. They do that. They do that.
God, you know, I'd rather not date a man.
I feel
with
like
kids,
everybody has
like
their trauma from the type of parenting that they had down to the type of parenting that they shall give. We just hope that, you know, we're able to just do the best that we can do. And I feel like that's just really the answer to most of these questions concerning this topic. Like, you know, nothing is perfect and parenting is imperfect. You know? Like there's no guideline of how to be a parent, whether single or together. You just have to just do the best that you can.
Just always be the best version of yourself, to be fair. Outsource if you're getting drained. I was speaking to the producer of the show because she's a mother. And, you know, I was asking her if motherhood can make her tired sometimes. And she mentioned how she tries not to put all the pressure on herself. Yeah. So if she can outsource anything, she would. If it's, you know, a chef, she go outsource the chef to make things easier. If it's a driver, she go outsource driver to make things easier. Because as a mom, I wouldn't say do everything yourself. Come on now. It's okay to ask for help. You asking for help does not mean that you're weak. It doesn't mean that you're not a fit mom. It just means that even though you've had a child, you can still rest.
You can still rest. And I feel like a lot of single mothers do put a lot of pressure on themselves, and then it even gets to a point where they start putting that pressure on the child. You know, don't necessarily want to call anyone out, but I can say that sometimes was my situation, and to be honest, I don't really blame my mom because, as I said, with parenting there is no
guideline.
There's no guideline, and this was her doing it for the first time.
Fair enough.
And then also alone. So I can only. Of course, she was also young too. Like, well, maybe not like teenage or anything, but I think she was 28 or 29 when she had me. So she was still, this was like the peak of her time, you know? So it must have been very, very hard for her. Yeah. But luckily, you know, times are changing and a lot of single mothers seem to be able to, you know, do it confidently.
My mom, man, I gotta shout out to my mom because my mom was like a man growing up, right? I gotta say that.
Mine too.
She was in her masculine era. She didn't wait for anybody. She was a boss. I remember growing up and telling my mom. Actually, I never told my mom, but I just said it to myself, like, growing up, I'm going to be like my mom and more. Like, she's an Alaja, right? And we lived in Ikorodu. And every time we would go to the shop, right, she drove a nice red Pathfinder. They'd be calling her Alaja. So she was just a boss. Like, she was like king of boys. When she's walking like these boys are ganging up on her, protecting her. Like, no, Alaja, do you get? So we grew up being cool, like, Alaja's kids, always protected. And I loved how she just seemed so powerful. You get? And it made me aspire for more. I'm just okay. Even with my dad being in America, she still held it down in Nigeria. We built a site in like a factory in Ikorodu, and my mom did it by herself.
Yo,
with
there's
4
so many
kids.
things that my mom achieved by herself.
With 4
too.
kids.
And that's why I think I've said this before in another episode, but I repeat again, this independence, this like, you know, go-getter, that energy, I super duper get it from my mom.
I'm about to cry. What the
Please don't cry, girl. Now, I would like to know though, would you say that women or men make better parents?
They work hand in hand. I don't feel like a woman can be a better parent on her own. Do you get? It's just best, even though it doesn't really happen more often, it's best for a child to grow up in, a loving and together family. But in a case where a woman is the only parent, she has to just strive to be the best version possible. But I wouldn't say there is a better parents.
Yeah.
In a case where
So
I
who
had
would
to
you
choose,
prefer? Yeah.
in a
If you had
case
to
where I
choose.
had to choose between being with a father or a mother, I would choose mother, obviously, because I just feel like she'll be more hands-on. Men can easily be distracted.
Very easily.
And obviously as a girl that is going through menstruation, PMS, boy issue, whatnot, a father cannot really relate as much as a woman can. But a father also have their use. You get, they can come in where they have to provide. They can come in where they can give boy issues. But
I always say that if my father was more present in my life,
Yeah.
I would not have battled with insecurity issues. Like, I'm already, like, most people look at me and are like, oh my God, Mo is so confident. She's so this. So if you think I'm confident now, imagine if, like, I had, like, that father figure presence. Like, there's nothing you can tell me.
because you have that father love.
Because I have that love. And I feel like I would also maybe have known love the healthier way from the male side.
Would you say you seek what you didn't get from your father in men?
Not anymore, but at a point, yes.
Okay.
Not anymore, but then I had to intentionally teach myself. And I even still feel like it's a journey. Like, I don't think you just outrightly full on outgrow it. It's still a journey, but I'm in a better place than I was so many years ago.
My dad was strict. I did not want to seek that a man at all. We could not watch TV Monday through Friday. My dad is very big on education, right? Once you come back from school, go and do your homework. You're not watching TV till Friday night. Do you get? But my mom was the cool one. Anything your dad says, if he says he cannot watch TV, sorry, you cannot watch TV. And I strongly believe that if my parents were together, right, I don't think I'd be a celebrity. Because my dad was so anti-entertainment. Entertainment is a hobby. Entertainment is a joke. You're joking with your life. But my mom, honestly, could have been a public figure. She could have been a celebrity because I see myself in her. And there's a lot. She advises me every day. Tolani, I think you should do this TikTok. Tolani, I think you should act here. Like, I see what she could have been, but she held a lot of things back.
Yeah, so
Till
I think a
tomorrow,
lot
I
of
know
our
my
mothers
mom is
did.
a star.
A lot of our mothers. My mother, like you know, people always say, "Oh yeah, oh my mom is so beautiful." I am not kidding you when I tell you, my mother, in her time, was gorgeous. She could have been Miss Nigeria.
What?
That's how fine my mom
Love
was.
it.
Like, that's how fine my mom was.
My mom
but never would she have tried that. Huh? My
Yes.
grandfather would not have allowed that. So
My mom, every time my mom is like, Tolani, why are you letting this guy play you? During my own time, I was the one. I was the prize. My mom, I love you, mom. She takes so much pride in letting me know who I am.
So don't you not think that, in a sense, even though you said yes, you did both parents, but don't you not think that your mother definitely has so much more influence on who you are than, let's say, your father? So if that's the case, then don't you think that you could actually be very okay just having a mother?
I could be,
as long as she's also gives off that father energy.
I could be okay, but the relationship aspect of my life is suffering. Do you get? I feel like even though my dad passed away like in February.
May he rest in peace.
Daddy. Not me about to cry. Oh my God, this is what
baby.
I didn't want. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Sorry, baby.
To be fair, but like my mom was also very hands-on. But like I did say, do it together. This fame, like I'm gonna be doing PhD,
and we won't have the big bash trending on all the blogs.
I would have got to do masters, PhD. My dad will even look for a job in government. There's nothing he will not do for me. Do you get? But one thing I liked was the fact that he gave me some encouraging words when he was passing away. Like, he was sick. And that's when he finally started giving me some, encouraging words. Because for a long time, he thought I was joking. So, we are ready. You go and do PhD. But then when he was sick and he was like, okay, I'm proud of you. That was the first time in a long time that I've heard. In fact, has he ever said I'm proud of you? Yes.
But why is that the case?
Because
though?
if it's not booked, they are not interested.
It's interesting that you pretty much touched on my next question, which is, why is it that especially fathers, they are not very vocal with their love? You said that it was just recently that your dad said that he was proud of you. Do you feel that it's society's role in a sense? Because society sort of says that as long as you're providing as a man, as long as you're paying school fees, then that's your role as father. But for me, I personally feel that, like, now my dad did all of that. He did all of that. I went to school in England, I was good, but I still feel there's still a void.
Yeah.
And that void is definitely because he actually wasn't there. He wasn't present.
Well, in my case, right, and this is something I just learned, right, over the years. Growing up, I felt the way because in my head, I'm like, it should be more than just providing. Like, I want you to be more hands-on. But that was how my dad was raised. So he loved us based on what he knew. He didn't know anything more than just, as a man, you provide, and that is that. It's just us millennials now that are now learning. Gen Z is like, it's not only about providing. You have to be there to do your child's assignments, attend meetings. Do you get
PTA? Pick them up from school.
Outside their dilemmas, because kids are going through kids as well. Be there for their mental health. So it's a lot. But that's what my dad did. He that's all he knew.
Yeah.
And as an adult, that's when I understood, like, why am I still upset with my dad? I don't need to be upset with him because he did what he knew.
Yeah.
He knew nothing else outside of the box.
Yeah. And that's also how I feel, because for a long time I was very upset with my father. I think I still am. I don't think
No.
Yeah, maybe not as much, but I still am. Like, I feel like I'll be lying to myself if I say I'm not.
Do you have a relationship with your dad?
I do, but it's not necessarily like what I would want it to be. But then I also just feel that, like, there's a point where you get to a certain age where, like you said, you can't blame them anymore, because my dad is like, what, 70 something? Like, I don't think I'm going to be able to change a 70-something-year-old man right now, so I can express myself, and I think he knows how I feel. Has he apologized? No. Will he apologize? Don't think so.
Have you communicated how you feel to him? And how did he receive that?
He sort of avoided it. And that's also another thing I also have realized, that a lot of our parents
don't know how to handle it.
Don't know how to handle being checked.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like no,
dodgy.
It's not me. Woo, woo,
yes. So it's how they were raised. So I understand why you're like, you've stopped blaming him, because based on what you just said right now, it seems like he just doesn't know how to handle conflicts and handle misunderstandings. He'd rather avoid it because it's an uncomfortable conversation. Yeah. So sorry, my dear.
Do you think you're gonna end up being a single parent though?
Omo, that sounds like a curse, but I hope not. I don't think there's anything wrong with being a single parent.
There's nothing wrong with it, to be honest.
There's nothing wrong, but do I even want a child? That is even the first question. That is even a good question.
Do you want children, actually?
I'm very selfish. I'm very selfish, and I do feel like if I'm going to have a child now, I got to put my life on pause, because the child comes before me. My life is no longer my life anymore. This is how I feel. And
do you know what? I actually have to commend you for that, because a lot of women, they're under this sort of pressure that they're not doing their role as a woman if they don't come into this world to have children. And I feel like that is also the beginning of parenting. If you know that you are not ready to take care of these children, then don't have them.
I'm still praying for guidance, to be fair. I need to understand, because, like I said, I don't know. But right now, I'm getting older and I'm still comfortable with not having kids. I'm not saying that I've not had days where I'm like, Tolani, you're getting older. When are you going to start having kids? My friends are having kids and I'm not even feeling any kind of way. People saying, yeah, rich auntie. I'm ready to be that rich auntie. But like, when it comes down to it, I got to be honest with myself. Like, do I really want? And I felt like this as I was 21. Like, I'm okay, Till now, I still feel this way, but I'm not comfortable saying it out in public, because in my head, I'm just like,
I feel like
maybe
more people should
be
be comfortable saying it out.
But I don't,
because we have a lot of bad parents as well.
But I don't want to be old and lonely. I don't want to. I need
Well,
love
yeah.
around me as as a grandma or as a mom.
Yeah.
So maybe it's a now thing because I'm popping. Do you get? But I'm thinking about the future, like Omo.
And that is also very fair.
Do you get? I don't want to be 50. I'm like, fuck, I should have had a child when I was like 30. Do you
Yeah.
get? So it's a lot
Do you
to
know
think
what you
of.
should do?
What?
Freeze your eggs, darling.
When I still be like 50 and a child can be like 1 year old, God forbid. Not saying that that's my case, but like,
at least you won't be 50 saying, I should have frozen my eggs.
you know what?
You should think about it.
And I feel
like more
that's a
women should
great
think
idea.
about it. Especially because of, as you said, women are not waiting for men. If you know you're not
No, we're not.
waiting, then it's best.
To take precautions.
Yeah. So I feel freezing your eggs is now a thing.
When do you think you'll be ready to have a child? With or without a man, yeah, because we're not waiting for men. If the man comes, if he doesn't come, we move.
To be honest, I've always been one of those people that I've always kind of known that I will have kids late.
Like how late is late?
38.
Okay. If you work out, you eat good, you can still look good. So.
Yeah. So, yeah, you can.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've always said like, maybe like 38 I'll start. Yeah.
38.
And shout out to Agbani Darego. She literally, came out to say that there's this whole, how there's this whole taboo of, you're too old if at, past 32 or whatever, and you don't have a child and it's not a good look. And she had her first child at 38.
She still is good though. Who cares? If she didn't put her age out there, you wouldn't know her age. Hello. So stop age shaming people. Lately, I've been getting comments like on my Instagram page, you are too old to be posting this. I'm like,
Lately? I've been getting these for
lately,
a
it
while.
shocked me.
I think since I clocked 30. So that's what, past 4 years now? You're
Wait,
too old.
you're too-
You're old.
Azzy?
Go and born. You're old. Go and marry.
Where's your man?
You're old.
Look at your mates.
Agbaya.
Oh my, that Agbaya one is killing me. Now even help them to laugh to Agbaya. Okay, Agbaya. Nah, man. Life is to be lived, man. Like, stop putting pressure on yourself.
And I feel like that's also the case when it comes to parenting. If you end up being a single parent, just do your best.
Make lemonades.
And one thing I also would say, please do not put stress or your frustration on the child. Like, the child is just a product of what two consenting adults did. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's a good reminder, because I feel like when these kind of situations happen, right, where the parent is pouring the frustration out on the child, I don't think it's intentional. I don't even think
it's not.
I don't think they realize what
they don't
are
realize,
doing
and you don't blame them until you're in those shoes,
Yeah.
But it's still, at the end of the day, the biggest victim in all of it is always still the child.
Always a child. The innocent child that was up in earth. I mean, in heaven, gently and badly, chilling, drinking Caprisone. You now brought the child to this world. You don't now want to take care of the child. Come on now. Do your right. I mean, do your duty as a
do your
parent.
due diligence as a parent. And yes, with this whole bad parenting, whether single or whether together, I just feel like, the major thing to parenting, at least, I'm not a parent, but at least being a child and what I would want my parents, the sort of energy that I want is just always, encouragement. Yes, definitely, like, your child cannot be your friend.
Yeah.
I don't agree that your child should be your friend, which is sort of parenting that's sort of happening these days.
If I were to have a child right now, honestly, I see myself being more of a friend than a mother.
Really? So
not intentionally, but like, I just want my child to be very comfortable. Like I've said to my friends, like, if my child grows up and says they want to be a dancer, a DJ, an A&R, also go and do it. I'm not really, even though obviously you graduate, whatnot, but I'm going to support the extracurricular activities more than, the older generation did, because their hobbies can be a job. Their hobbies can make them superstars, megastars. So let's not dismiss their, extracurricular interests.
I feel like it's just a balance. Like, yes, my mom shouldn't necessarily be my friend, but my mom shouldn't necessarily be a stranger.
Yeah.
So it's just all about just reaching that perfect balance and that common ground.
Yeah. So I do believe that as a single parent or a single mom, right, if you find yourself angry that you don't have a father figure in your child's life, try as much as possible to expose your child to love. If you have brothers, uncles, who was grandfathers, try as much as possible to introduce that into your child's life, and they can see how a man is supposed to be. That's what I would say. Just a father is supposed to
figure.
be. Yeah.
But in some cases, some women just, if they feel like, yes, they can provide, they don't want to wait on this man anymore,
Yeah.
Like, another thing I feel like, a lot of men can be unreliable. They're here today, they're not here tomorrow.
And that's because women are hurt, right? A lot of women who like to play the father figure in their life, it's not because they want to, they have to. So they are angry that they have to play that role, but they're not going to let that child see it.
But, with saying that, there are lots of women that feel that, the sacrifices that they've made, grazing these children on their own, that they can play that father role. They are the ones that, like, they don't need, should be men are used for used as the providers. They don't need them anymore now. They can provide for themselves. So, they'll call themselves king. They'll dress up for, Father's Day in full male regalia with hats, mustache, full makeup.
Honestly, I know it's not a funny situation, but I do feel like that's kind of hilarious and childish, because women who do that are doing that from a place of hurt, right? They don't need to be comedic about it, because why are you trying to make Father's Day a day where you want to show how peppered you are? I feel like Father's Day, let it be Father's Day. On Mother's Day, you can 100% be appreciated.
And do it plenty in different ways.
Express the love as much as possible, but it's known that men will stain your white, right? It's by default. I feel like if a woman is getting married to a man, prepare yourself there's a possibility
to be
that
stained.
He could stain my
that white dress.
He could stain
it's gonna be stained.
And if he stains it, prepare yourself to bounce back. That's what I would say. Like, pick up, move on, and keep the ball rolling. Don't dwell in the sadness.
Yeah,
I don't encourage that. If you find yourself being down, you can take some time out, be down, but don't be down for too long, because life continues. Life is not going to stop because of you. Hope you know that, right? And the more you are down, the more your peers are moving on. The more your peers are unlocking new levels. So pick yourself up, cry is okay, but always remember to be surrounded by love. Very important.
Real talk. I like how you touched on that, dwelling in the sadness thing. And that seems to be the case for a lot of, single mothers, that it even now trickles down to the child, where they are constantly speaking ill of the father.
Yeah.
In most cases, in all honesty, I don't blame these women, because they are not actually lying.
Somehow.
If your mother tells you that your father was philandering, maybe you should add small salt and pepper. But trust me, he was philandering.
The kid should be out of it.
I agree.
Don't poison your kids' minds.
I agree.
The drama should be between the man and the woman. That's In fact, you can even lie. Oh, your father was sweet. Your mother was sweet.
I don't think you should lie, though.
Okay, maybe not use lie. Maybe not lie, but don't poison your child's mind.
Yeah. Let them make their own decisions. The child can resent you
in the future.
Get older.
Because when the child gets older, they get to hear both sides of the party and of the story. And the child's like, Mommy didn't tell me that one. No.
But in most cases, when they hear the both sides, meaning that they now hear the man's side, the man didn't necessarily live up to. The man did live up to expectation. You know what I mean? Like he did actually do these things that the mother had accused the man of.
The father was just young, childish, and was unaware of how to be a father. That's also a thing that you get. I feel like
that too. I also feel like even society teaches women in a sense how to even be mothers more than it teaches fathers how, or men how to be fathers.
Yes, 100%. I agree with that. It's valid.
It still doesn't mean that some of our fathers that did us wrong, that they are.
Those fathers are doing us wrong. Did they have fathers in their own lives? How about that? Did they have examples in their own lives?
But it still doesn't mean that they did not do us wrong.
They could have been better. I don't think they didn't do me wrong, but I don't think fathers doing their children wrong was intentional. I just feel like what they did is what they could do, and they didn't know any better. But as we've gotten older, it's a conversation you have with your father, and then you apologize. It's when the father does not apologize and admit to their faults, that's why I think is an issue.
Well, do they ever apologize and admit to their faults?
They'll
just say, I did my best. I provided. I took you to the best schools. I did this. I did that. They still will never apologize. I don't think I've ever heard sorry from my father or my mother.
It's really hard to get an African man to say I'm sorry. Why?
An African woman too. An African mother.
I'm quick to say I'm sorry. I'm very quick to say.
You're a millennial. You're bad and bougie.
I am, but I don't. Like I said, you guys know I'm a lover gay, even though I like to like talk. I really love. So if your man is like, I don't like what you did, I'm sorry, babe. I'm so sorry. Like, I want us to make up.
But if me, I tell you that I don't like what you did, you tell me you're sorry.
No, I have to say I'm sorry now. Come on now. I don't want us to fight, please. I beg. I love this podcast, and I see the potential of this podcast.
Yes,
like,
I do.
we're the biggest in Nigeria, and if we're this big right now, imagine what could happen in a year from now. So we're going to keep the fire burning.
Yes, we are. And we're not going to let any man become in between us.
I don't think your spec is even my spec.
Yeah, to be honest. Thank God for that.
I feel like we have different tastes. Even though we've not spoken about that, we'll speak about that later. Yeah. So, do you think bad partners could make good fathers?
That is a tough one. But I would say no. And the reason being, because no matter what, children are so impressionable, so much more impressionable than a lot of us give them credit for. So a child will notice the dynamics, will notice that, mommy and daddy are not in the best place.
Yeah.
And it is so crazy how children are like sponges. They soak all of this in. And then that's how you find out that when that child grows up, he also equally ends up being a bad partner. So would you say that that father did that child justice by giving that example?
I can agree with that, but I do still feel like a bad partner could be a good parent. And I just feel like...
I feel like you have to be mature to do that. You have to be intentional to do that. Because we see it in the news every time. You know, you like... I don't really want to name drop, but...
You might as well.
A good example. Davido and Sophia and Imade. There was a time when, you know, everything, Imade. Every, you know, David was talking about Imade. Sophia was talking about, you know, but I don't know whatever transpired. Now, David is not really talking. I'm not saying that he's not taking care of Imade. I don't know. I'm not there. But it just seems as if that's vocal love is no longer there. And we all know that him and Sophia are not necessarily in the best of terms.
Yeah.
So if I'm a little Imade watching this, I don't know how I would perceive that.
But you know, social media is not real, right?
That's also
what
another
if he has decided to keep his kids off social media? Yeah. What if?
But then there was only one that was in the limelight.
Yeah, but we all know what happened, right? And he could have learned something from that situation and decided to protect his prize, his most valuable possessions from the world. Do you get?
That is fair.
So because he's not posting online does not mean that he's not an active father anymore.
Oh no, I never said that. I'm just saying that you could just see that change. There was now all of a sudden that change. With the way he was so vocal about Imade. And then once they had their issues, it seemed as if he had pulled away or withdrew, at least on social media.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, you're right.
Doesn't mean that that's what it was in real life.
So basically, because of the issues David and Sophia had, it affected the child. Or you think, yeah. Actually, well, we don't know what's going on behind closed doors, but...
And in all honesty, trust me, I'm in my own situation, or my relationship with my father is the way it is because he didn't get along with my mother. So, like, unfortunately, you know when they say elephants are fighting, the children are the grass.
Yeah.
So, in situations like that, does that make you a good father then? Or does that make you a good mother? You know what I mean? So, I don't know.
I think the parents are just being childish and they need their parents to just speak sense into their heads, and their parents are probably not around to guide them. That's what I would say. That doesn't make them bad people. Sure. I don't even think bad parents are bad people. They just need guidance.
Yes, that's true. That's very true. Yeah. Anyway, well, this has been a very interesting topic.
Yeah.
We got the big badge to cry.
I didn't think I was gonna cry, guys. Guys, when we got this topic, right, I didn't expect this conversation to go this way because I was ready to shut this topic down. I was
like, what's this?
No. It's not insightful enough for me. But surprisingly enough, I feel like we've learned.
Yes, we've learned a few things.
We've been very insightful, and I know that people are going to pick one or two things from this conversation.
I hope so.
It's not every day, man. It's not every day we bash.
It's not every day.
It's not every day.
It's not.
So
and this is not going to be one of those ones either.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Bad and the Boujee podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening to Tolani Baj and the Moet Goddess.
Abebe.
Sorry. Moet Abebe,
The
aka
goddess.
the goddess.
It's been so awesome chilling with you. Hoping that you guys absolutely love the conversation. Like we said, don't forget to subscribe. And yeah, just keep up with us.
Subscribe, like, comment, share this video with your friends and family, and let them know that the Bad and the Boujee girls of Lagos are here for a role. Okay?
Yes, and we're here to stay.
Here to stay. More
Bye,
to
guys.
come.
Mwah.